Hello everyone! China has an abundance of mineral resources, and the mining industry has seen steady growth in total output value since the reform and opening up period, driven by increasing demand. However, the industry faces challenges such as harsh working conditions, low education levels among workers, and insufficient safety management, leading to mining accidents of varying scales each year. The most common mining accidents include gas leaks, fires, water inrushes, and roof collapses. In this lesson, we will explore on-site first aid for gas leaks and fires in mining areas. 1. Gas leaks. Most mining operations are conducted underground, where there is a risk of accidentally contacting underground gas layers during the mining process, especially in coal mines. When underground gas pressure is high, gas can surge into the mining area in large quantities due to pressure changes when mining operations approach gas-rich areas. The primary component of gas is methane, CH4, which is a colorless, odorless, and non-toxic gas. Because it cannot be detected by human senses, workers must rely on specialized detection equipment to identify leaks. Gas is lighter than air and diffuses very quickly, especially in an enclosed underground mine where it can rapidly spread and displace the air inside the mine. Although gas is non-toxic, it cannot support human respiration, so when the gas concentration becomes too high, it can cause asphyxiation. Gas also contains other alkane-based organic gases such as ethane and propane, which have mild anesthetic effects. In confined spaces, these gases can quickly cause loss of consciousness, asphyxiation, and even death. Moreover, gas is highly flammable. When it mixes with oxygen in the air at a certain ratio, it can ignite and cause fires or explosions if exposed to a spark or flame. The carbon monoxide produced from gas combustion and explosion can further lead to poisoning. 1. After a gas leak occurs, immediately cut off the power supply in the mining area, strengthen ventilation in the tunnels to prevent gas accumulation, and continuously monitor changes in gas concentration within the mine. 2. Set up a safety perimeter around the accident site to prevent unauthorized personnel and individuals without oxygen respirators from entering. 3. When rescue personnel find individuals who are still able to move within the mining area, they instruct them to wear self-rescue devices and escort them out of the disaster zone. 4. If an unconscious person is found, promptly assess their condition based on heartbeat, breathing, pupil response, and level of consciousness to determine the severity of the injury. Immediately transport the unconscious person from the disaster zone to an area with fresh airflow or to a refuge chamber, and place them in a stable location with a secure roof, free from dripping water, or transport them to the surface. Quickly remove any mucus, blood clots, mud, coal dust, or other obstructions from the person's mouth and nose. Loosen the person's clothing, such as the shirt, belt, and shoes. Cover the person with a blanket or cotton quilt to keep them warm. If possible, place a hot water bag beside the person and use a resuscitator to assist breathing if needed. 5. If there are too many trapped individuals to evacuate at once, create a temporary refuge by sealing off the area with ventilation barriers. Open the compressed air pipes or ventilation ducts to supply fresh air to the temporary refuge. Provide on-site resuscitation within the disaster zone, and then gradually evacuate the injured individuals to a safe location in batches. 2. Fires. Since mines are enclosed spaces, fires can spread rapidly once they start. Furthermore, the underground location, the distance from water sources, and the limited space that restricts personnel movement create significant challenges for fire rescue operations within mines. Fires are primarily caused by gas leaks in the mine that come into contact with an open flame or an electrical spark. Fires spread rapidly, often leaving workers with little time to respond. Combustion of materials in the mining area releases large quantities of toxic and hazardous gases, which can cause poisoning. According to relevant data, over 95% of fatalities in mine fires are caused by toxic gas poisoning. When a fire occurs in a mining area, it should be reported immediately. If the fire is small, it can be extinguished using nearby materials, but panic must be avoided. Rescue personnel must identify the fire location, assess the affected area, analyze the presence of toxic and hazardous gases, and evaluate the condition of the tunnels to quickly determine the most effective fire suppression measures. If the fire starts near an intake air shaft, the on-site commander should order a short-circuiting of the return air after stopping extraction and immediately command the main ventilation system to reverse airflow. If the fire originates in the mining or excavation area, the airflow should be cut off as soon as possible, and the smoke should be directed directly through the return shaft. Strict measures must be taken to prevent gas from entering the fire zone and triggering an explosion. For common fires, use water or foam extinguishers. For electrical fires, the power supply must be cut off first, and only dry powder extinguishers or sand should be used. If an underground fire escalates to the point where it cannot be extinguished directly, an isolation method should be used. Build sealing walls in the tunnels leading to the fire zone. Stop the air supply to the fire zone. If evacuation routes are blocked, immediately enter a refuge chamber to conduct self-rescue or wait for rescue assistance. To reduce the impact of thick smoke on the human body, the following measures should be taken. Spray large amounts of water to lower the temperature of the smoke and slow its spread. Cover the mouth and nose with a towel or cloth to reduce the inhalation of smoke. When escaping from smoke and fire, if the smoke is not too thick, walk in a crouched position. If the smoke is dense, crawl on the ground since the air layer 30 centimeters above the ground tends to have less smoke. Emergency rescue principles for mine fires. 1. Extinguish. Rapidly extinguishing the fire is the fundamental principle. Burn victims should immediately remove any burning clothing or headgear, or they should lie down on the ground and roll to smother the flames. If there is a nearby water source, such as a ditch, the victim may jump into the water to extinguish the fire. Victims must not run to avoid intensifying the flames. Do not shout, as inhaling flames can cause respiratory burns. 2. Check. After rescuing individuals from the fire scene, check for any life-threatening injuries, such as head or internal organ injuries and respiratory burns causing breathing difficulties. For critical cases, provide on-site emergency care immediately. Clear obstructions from the mouth and nose to keep the airway open. Administer oxygen if available. If breathing or heartbeat has stopped, perform CPR immediately. 3. Prevent. Prevent pain and shock. Severe burns typically cause intense pain and agitation. Strong painkillers should be administered. For mild cases, give oral painkillers. For severe cases, administer pain relief injections intramuscularly. For victims with head injuries or respiratory burns, avoid using morphine or pethidine to prevent respiratory suppression. When transporting severely burned victims to the hospital, avoid repeated use of morphine or pethidine to prevent overdose and poisoning. Severe burns can quickly lead to shock. In such cases, administer saline solution at the scene to combat shock. If the burn victim experiences severe thirst due to the heat, avoid giving large amounts of plain water. Instead, provide a special burn recovery drink. 4. Wrap. During on-site rescue, protect the burn wounds by wrapping or covering them with clean gauze or a sheet before transporting the victim to the hospital for treatment. Alright, that concludes the emergency response measures for gas leaks and fires in mining areas. We will cover the on-site handling of water inrushes and roof collapses in the next lecture. Goodbye.